Hi everybody, Debra Dickinson here. Thank you for being on my channel. Today I'm going to do a practical use review for full-time and part-time travelers, campers, and nomads of the Bluetti Max Oak AC50S portable power station, also known as a solar generator. Stay tuned. This is considered mid-size on today's market. Of course, Bluetti has more sizes to offer and more products to offer. Too many to list here, and I think they go up to 3,000 watts or more. But you can go to their website. That will be listed in the description and pinned comment below, so be sure to check that out. And a disclaimer, they sent me this AC50S for an honest review, and that's what you're going to get from me today. In fact, you guys, I'll show you a couple of fails. I am a full-time traveler nomad. I am not sitting in some garage somewhere or in a laboratory or in a room in a sticks and bricks home running tests on this thing. I have tested it for uses applicable to full-time travelers, which is what I am, but it applies to a lot of people. And I will be covering some specific details around that, as well as sharing with you, how it worked and whether or not I think it works in an RV lifestyle or any rig for any nomad for that matter. First, let's cover the box. Well, it came nicely packed. Sometimes things come in envelopes these days, and so I was a little worried, but this was one of the best packed boxes that I've ever seen. I'm going to go over the input accessories first. It came with a 90-watt AC wall adapter with a brick. It comes with a 12-volt, 24-volt cigarette lighter input, and I'm going to cover a unique use for that later on, so hang on. And it comes with an MC4 to 8mm input cable. The only output accessory it came with was a USB-C cable. It, of course, has the manual and the warranty, but it also came with a warning sticker that we're going to talk about in a little bit because it becomes important, and I'll tell you more why on that. I'll also show you and talk about the actual Bluetti AC50S power station in a minute, but first let's discuss charging it with the input accessories I just covered. Activation and recharging. The power button must be turned on before you can access or utilize the AC and the DC power buttons. And you have to hold them in for about 2 seconds before they turn on. And they act as a toggle switch. 2 seconds will also turn them off. And to turn the whole thing off, instead of just tapping the on button, you have to hold it in for a couple of seconds and it turns the whole thing off. After that, if you want to see the backlit display, all you have to do is slightly tap the on button and that display will stay on for 30 seconds. The 90-watt AC adapter that comes with it requires shore power or a generator. On average, most people doing real lab testing have found that it takes approximately 6 hours to charge the Bluetti, and that is also what Bluetti says on their website. However, I have to tell you, I am camped at a campground right now where I have electricity, and I took this from 20% to 100% in just 4 hours using shore power. So, 4 to 6 hours. So it comes also with a cigarette lighter, 12-volt charging cable, and reportedly that takes about 5 hours to recharge, but I understand that some people travel with a 24-volt battery. I'm assuming that's like large semi-trucks or something, and of course then it's half time. But I'm going to show you a unique way that I used this. You can use it to charge your station while you're traveling, like I just said, but I plugged it into my solar power bank and I charged my Bluetti with that. And I was so thrilled to know that it worked. It worked great. It was safe. and it charged in the same amount of time, but I did notice that it activated the internal fan, and you can see that it is vented on the sides for that. And that's not a bad thing. That's what they're put in there for. But I thought that was interesting, since the temperature in my RV at the time was 68 degrees because I was running the AC. So Bluetti says that the AC50S can operate at 32 degrees Fahrenheit to 104, and in centigrade that's 0 to 40 centigrade. And I was just thrilled that my 300 watts of solar that I have through my MPPT inverter to the cigarette lighter output, I have several of those in my rig, work to charge the Bluetti safely inside my rig. I don't have to worry about charging it outside with a solar panel only. Of course, I can't do that if my house batteries weren't fully charged, but it's good to know that it works. And in case you're wondering why I need or want a portable power station, if I have all of that, hang on, and I'm going to tell you, and I'll get to that when I show you the uses for a traveler, whether you're full-time or part-time nomad. Solar charging. They say that you can use any third-party solar panel, and I'm going to share more with you what the manual says about that in just a moment. But keep in mind that it came with this sticker, and they have the warning on here as well. Do not leave the unit in direct sun. That means that when you're leaving this outside to charge on a solar panel, that you need to make sure that it's in the shade of the solar panel. And then of course you want to but you want to be responsible and take care of any issues around theft or something like that. Okay, let's talk about the manual itself, because it is, for me, one of the best written manuals that I've run across in a long time. It has the standard 2-year limited manufacturer warranty. It covers the connectable devices. It has troubleshooting codes, and I'll cover some of that in a moment because I did get some. Like I said, I had some fails. You'll get error codes when you have passed the maximum capacity for output and when you are undervalued for charging the power station itself. And there's all kinds of tech specs in there if you're a tech geek and want to know detailed details upon the details. And I really enjoyed the FAQ section, the frequently asked questions. In there you can find out that like the depth of charge, the DOD on this is at 90%. That means that they reserve 10% of this that you can never touch. So you're never going to run the battery down completely because it's at a 90% DOD. So that prevents damage. You can charge the power station using 2 solar panels in series, and the manual covers that as well. Okay, let's talk about this beast, the portable power station, also known as a solar generator. It is a Bluetti by Maxoak AC50S. It's a 500 watt-hour, 300 watt, 1000 cycle lithium ion battery. I know that's a lot of words, and I had to do a lot of research and make a lot of notes to understand it all. For those tech geeks watching that don't have a brain injury like I do, that may all mean something to you straight away. It didn't mean I had to look it all up, but let me break it down for you what I learned. Break it down, Mary. That was from the old Reba TV series and Barbara Jean. She was amazing. Okay, the 300 watts is the level of power in any given moment, whereas the 500 watt hours they are referencing describes the amount of power consumption over a period of time. And according to Bluetti, this gives the AC50S a peak of 450 watts. So the lithium-ion battery is a 1000 cycle battery. But since Bluetti reserves that 10% that I told you about, you can't drain this battery completely, which conceivably means that it will last many years beyond the 1000 cycles, because you never completely can discharge this. And that's what a cycle means. A cycle means discharged completely and then recharged. And so this is going to last a lot longer than the 1000 cycles. Whereas lead acid batteries, for example, they hit their max life cycle and you have to throw them away or trade them in. But this one is going to last for many years if used properly. It has inside an MPPT solar charge controller, And MPPT stands for Maximum Power Point Tracking, which makes sure that you're getting the maximum available power. It does a lot of work for you and takes care of the machine itself. It uses a 300-watt pure sine inverter, which is very important if you plan on charging high-end electronics such as a laptop or other devices that you don't want damaged by dirty signal, or which just means distorted waves. And that comes from like a modified inverter versus a pure sine inverter. Modified inverters are cheaper, but they also run hotter, they consume more energy, and they typically don't last as long. So the pure sine inverter in here is important to me, and also the reputation as I was doing my research for this inverter is one of the best on the market according to everything that I found. I will tell you that this the portable power station itself was a little bit heavier than I expected. You can see I'm lifting it up. So it's not that heavy, but it weighs 13.6 pounds. And to compare, Bandit, when he went to the vet last week, he weighs 14.4 pounds. And I pick him up several times a day. So the weight for me is not really an issue, but it was a surprise. I love the double handles for carrying this thing versus like having one wide strap or a single plastic handle like a lot of the competitors. It measures 12 by 8 by 8. And so keep the weight and the footprint in mind when you are thinking about storage. It comes in blue and gray and white and orange. I was kind of hoping for a blue or a gray one, but oh well. I understand that you can also have this case changed out, but I don't think it's worth going through the hassle, at least not for me. So let's talk about all of the charging output options that you have on here. You have the two AC outlets, and we've covered that they're pure sine, and it shows you on here that it's pure sine and that they're 300 watts. But what I learned is that the output capacity of these two is 300 watts total, not 300 watts each. So if you are charging something that is close to or at 300 watts, you can only use one of these, so keep that in mind. It also has 4 USB ports. They are not quick charging. Bluetti says that in their future lines, they're going to make these fast charging ports in the future. In the meantime, a workaround is to get like a 12-volt charger and with fast charging dual USB ports if that is important to you. And it also has a 45-watt USB-C PD port, a power delivery port. And my friend Jana Frigel, RV Gal, her phone requires a USB-C, and so we were able to use that to charge her phone. On top, it has this nifty little feature, which is a 10-watt wireless charging pad. And I did use it sitting outside. I laid my phone on there, used this as a tabletop, laid my phone on there, and it charged it, which was really cool. It has this 12-volt, 10-amp output. And on this particular model, let me open that up for you, see that? On this particular model, this AC50S, this port is now regulated. On previous models, it was not. Regulated simply means that it keeps the voltage the same at a constant rate without fluctuation, and that can be important. Now these two, they're like a 3-amp outputs. They're best for like 15 watts or less, which is like lights or something, and they are not regulated either. Now, this isn't necessarily charging or an output, but I got to show you something that's cool on the back. I thought this was a cool feature, and it has you have to have it on. Let me make sure it's on. You have to have the power station on to use this, and this is where you charge the power station. But this is a cool feature. Let me turn this because it's going to blind you. This is a wonderful feature. There, that light is on high, and then it can go to low, and then it also has an emergency beacon. It will flash SOS. And so that, I think, is wonderful, especially if you are out camping, which is what I do full time. I think that is a wonderful feature, and thank you, Bluetti, for putting that on there. I really appreciate that. Let's talk about what it can charge, and I'm going to tell you about some of the things that I tested. It ran my Endless Breeze 12-volt, 14-inch fan on medium speed for 16 hours, you guys, before it reached the 20% capacity. And if you are a nomad or tent camping or even in temperatures where you need a little bit extra help, trust me, that can be a major relief, and especially overnight. The competitor that I had been using prior to this could not run my fan at all. And so it's really nice to be able to sit outside in the summer and longer and get out earlier in the day and especially in the afternoon. Other devices that this can run, and I have verified with friends, is a CPAP, and of course phones, tablets, laptops. Remember, it's a pure sign, that's important. It can run TVs, gaming consoles, external speakers, lights, drones, cameras, even mini fridges and coolers. And so if my fridge ever goes out, I don't have to worry about being able to keep my solar panels on my rooftop charged. I have this as a backup or even a main source. However, the AC50S, and again they make larger models, but this AC50S cannot run heaters, air conditioners, rice cookers, induction cooktops, microwaves, hair dryers, or coffee makers. Now, I will tell you that I thought, well, maybe they just mean like the big fancy coffee makers or those that do espresso or something. And I have this little bitty 4-cup coffee maker. And I thought, and so I looked on it, and it is more than the 450 watt capacity. But I thought, hey, it's not much more, so I'm going to test it. Again, I want to stress, if you want to run some of these things, then a larger model would work. Yeah, it was a fail. It gave me the error code that said my inverter output was overloaded. I knew my coffee pot was beyond the 450 watt peak, like I said, but I just had to try. So get yourself a larger model if you need it, but this will meet 99% of my needs. In fact, at the raffle during my annual KOKO Fest meetup this year, we will be giving away a 600 watt Bluetti thanks to my friend and patron Richard. Thank you, Richard. So if you're coming to my meetup, you might get to get one that's a little bit larger even than this one. Also at my meetup, a practical use of this, oh my God, I will be using this Bluetti a lot while we're at the pavilion and doing our event schedule. I'll need it to keep things charged during classes and during dance night, and even for all of us to watch a movie one night. This thing is very handy. So that leads me to the advantages of a portable power station over a generator, regardless of the size of Bluetti power station that you get. All right, versus a generator. First of all, this thing is far more compact than a generator. And after the purchase of 1 or 2 solar panels, it can cost less in the long run because you don't have to keep putting fuel in it. At one and done on the cost. Plus, there's no fumes. There's multiple ways to recharge this power station. Far less maintenance than a generator. 0 emissions. And oh my goodness, 0 noise. So depending on what your needs are and what size you need, I highly recommend a Bluetti portable power station. All right, let's talk about a portable power station, or a solar generator as they're sometimes known, versus traditional solar power. I know that there are those who don't like portable power stations, or like I said, sometimes they're called solar generators. They believe only in the tried and true system of hard panels mounted in the house batteries and an inverter and controller. And like I said, I actually have 400 watts. Well, I have 300 watts of solar installed on my roof, and I have another 100 watt portable solar panel. I have 3 AGM house batteries and an MPPT controller with a 2000 watt pure sine inverter. And I love my Bluetti portable station. I use it, and I have found that I actually need it for a lot of applications, and I've already covered some of them. I boondock a lot, and this actually does really give me peace of mind for knowing I have power whenever I need it. When it rains for days, I don't have to worry about draining my house batteries. If I park in the shade, even though I have a portable solar panel and a long cable, I often can't reach it and get it out into a sunny area long enough anyway to make any use of it. So with the power of the Bluetti, however, I can stay in remote places and not have to worry about my computer, my jetpacks, or my phone going dead. And that is actually, a critical thing in this day and age. You need to be able to stay in touch. You need to be able to call for help if you need to. I can also run fans to stay cool if I have to. So it is useful in emergency situations as well. So this is a viable option for many that can't do a traditional system or don't want to go to that expense or hassle of having a complete solar power bank installed. This is an all-in-one system. And plus, you guys, a lot of people don't have a place to install solar panels on their rigs. On top of that, if they have physical challenges carrying and moving portable solar panels in and out every time you want to travel, I did that for, 2, maybe 3 years, and that is such a hassle. And then you have to move them all day long to follow the sun, and so that might not work for some either. And I know that there are people that boast, I can build a better, more powerful power station than this. Okay, I get it. Good for you. Go do that. Whatever. In the meantime, I will proudly use my Bluetti AC50S. And if I ever change rigs, or if my solar power system quits working, I got to be honest, this is the way I will probably go. And I kind of wish I had from the beginning, especially when I lived in my converted cargo van for 5 years. So now let's talk about pricing and availability. Bluetti and Max Oak sell it directly through their website, and you can order these through Walmart or Amazon and all kinds of third-party dealers. In fact, I'm going to order the carrying case for $40 through Amazon for this, just to keep it protected. And by the way, if you use Amazon, please use my affiliate account. You can find the link below in the video description and the pinned comment. These products are also in my Amazon store for you to easily click on and purchase. And that link can also be found down below. So in summary, you guys, I love, love, love my Bluetti AC50S. Check out other reviews for yourself and do your own research. But thank you, Bluetti, for trusting me to do an honest review. And you know what, as usual, KOKO, everybody. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you down the road with nonstop power.